Well, you are right on time for the National Assembly proceedings afternoon sitting on this 9th day of April, the year 2024. This is a live broadcast that is streaming from the Parliament buildings, and it is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. The members of the National Assembly are this afternoon resuming the plenary sittings after a 2-week break. This 9th day of April is the first day for the plenary sitting after that 2-week recess that the members took. And in the order of business for the National Assembly members this afternoon is that there are 4 bills that are lined up for first reading. The bills include the Kenya National Council for Population and Development. This is a bill that is originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 72 of 2023, a bill that is sponsored by the leader of the majority party, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. And the principal object of this bill is to anchor the National Council for Population and Development in law through an act of Parliament. And this is a bill that the council is currently established under legal notice number 120 of 2004. As currently constituted, the council is unable to prescribe regulations and standards for effective monitoring and coordination of population programs as it is established through an executive order. Further to this, other population coordinating bodies in the region are established through statute due to international obligations, and in addition, and pursuant to Section 21 of the Statutory Instruments Act that provides for the life of a statutory instrument as 10 years, it is imperative that the council be established through an act of Parliament. So this is a bill that provides for the establishment, composition, and administration of the council. The bill provides for the establishment of the council and makes it a body corporate. Also, the bill provides for the objectives of the council and sets out the functions of the council, which includes to carry out research and analysis on the population issues. This is one of the bills that will be read for the first time on the floor of the National Assembly this afternoon. The Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, also originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 2 of 2024. This is a bill sponsored by the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, who is also the Member of Parliament for Molo constituency, is a bill that seeks to amend the Public Finance Management Act 2012, and it proposes to reduce the time for submission of financial statements by public entities from 3 months after the end of a financial year to 1 month after the end of a financial year. This is said that it will ensure that the Office of the Auditor General has adequate time to carry out required audits and prepare the required reports. So this is a bill that will also be read for the first time on the floor of the National Assembly this afternoon as members resume from the 2-week recess. The Technopolis bill, also originating from the National Assembly, as well as the Cooperatives bill, are also among the 4 bills that are scheduled for first reading on the floor of the National Assembly this afternoon. The members of the National Assembly will also resume debate on the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, a bill also originating from the National Assembly by the leader of the majority party. This is a bill that is at its second reading stage, and the debate for this afternoon will be a resumption of a similar debate that was interrupted on Thursday, March 21st, the year 2024, in the afternoon sitting before the members proceeded on that 2-week recess. So this is a bill that debate on it will resume this afternoon. The principal object of this bill is to provide a legal framework for the coordination of disaster risk management activities in both levels of government. This bill establishes the Intergovernmental Council on Disaster Risk Management and the National Disaster Risk Management Authority to ensure that there is coordination of disaster risk management issues at the national as well as at the county government level. This particular bill further seeks to establish county disaster risk management committees in each of the counties, as the role of disaster risk management is a shared function between the national and the county governments under the 4th schedule to the Constitution. And to this particular end, then the bill proposes to bring together the staff of the National Disaster Operations Center, the National Disaster Risk Management Unit, to undertake national disaster risk management. The members of the National Assembly will also continue debate or resume debate on the proposal to amend the Constitution. This is under Standing Order 114.7a. And today, this afternoon, the Speaker will accord an opportunity to members of the National Assembly to make general comments on legislative proposals to amend the constitutions. These legislative proposals have been forwarded by the Honorable Member Bashir Sheikh and the Honorable Member Alice Nganga. Debate on these proposals already took place on the floor of the House, and this afternoon they are scheduled to resume. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, is in the chambers. He will be presiding over this afternoon sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Waheshimiwa, tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umeteua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu. Tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Tukuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi watumishi wako, sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Congratulations, honorable members. We have started with a very handsome quorum. What is happening to your side, Mahmoud? Daoud? Okay. We have quorum to transact business, honorable members. Clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Order, Honorable Deputy Speaker and your team. Order. Take your seats. Honorable members, of a short communication on the withdrawal of the Land Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 65 of 2023. Honorable members, as you are aware, The Land Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 65 of 2023, was published by the Gazette Notice number 194 of 19th October 2023 to effect various amendments to laws relating to land. Specifically, the bill proposes to amend the Land Registration Act 2012, the National Land Commission Act 2012, and the Land Act 2012. Honourable members, the bill, which is sponsored by the leader of the majority party, the Honourable Kimani Ichung'wah, EGH MP, was read a first time on 14th November 2023 and committed to the Departmental Committee on Lands for consideration. However, I've since received correspondence from the leader of the majority party conveying his desire to withdraw the bill pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 140. For clarity, the Standing Order 140 on withdrawal of bills provide in part that either before the commencement of business or on the order of the day for any stage of the bill being read, the member in charge of the bill may, without notice, claim to withdraw a bill. Honourable members, in the letter dated 21st March 2024, the leader of the majority party states that following extensive consultations among stakeholders, he has since sponsored the publication of the Land Laws Amendment Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 76 of 2023 via Kenya Gazette Notice Supplement Number 237 of 6th December 2023. The bill contains more comprehensive amendments to the Land Registration Act 2012 and the Land Act 2012. Indeed, this bill was read a first time on 7th December 2023. Further, the Honourable Ichung'wah notes that the Deputy Leader of the Majority Party, the Honourable Owen Baya, CBS MP, has sponsored the National Land Commission Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 43 of 2023, which accommodates the amendments proposed to the National Land Commission Act 2012 as contained in the Land Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 65 of 2023. Honourable members, having considered the request by the leader of the majority party and noting the attendant provisions of the standing orders, I have acceded to the request and hereby direct that the Land Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 65 of 2023, stand withdrawn forthwith. The Departmental Committee on Lands should therefore cease any further consideration of the bill in light of this development. The House is accordingly guided. I thank you.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Thank you. Honourable Speaker, thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. 1. Legal Notice Number 47 of 2024 relating to the National Building Code 2024 and explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Plans, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. 2. Gazette Notice Numbers 15492, 15493, 15494, 15495, and 15496 relating to the revised fees and charges for services provided by the State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services. 3. Annual financial statements of Kenya Civil Aviation Authority for the year ended 30th June 2022. 4. Annual reports of National Police Service for 2023 from the Office of the Inspector General, National Police Service. 5. Report of the Auditor General and financial statements on Criminal Assets Recovery Fund, Asset Recovery Agents for the year ended 30th June 2022. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 in respect of A. Kenya Investment Authority, B. Kenya Industrial Property Institute, C. National Council for Population and Development, D. Road Maintenance Levy Fund, Kenya Wildlife Service, E. Kenya Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat, F. Tana and Athi Rivers Development Authority, TARDA, G. Agri and Cooperative Training and Consultancy Limited, H. Farmers and Poisons Board, I. Tana Athi Water Works Development Agency, J, Road Maintenance Levy Fund, Kenya National Highways Authority. K, Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. L, Kenya National Shipping Line Limited. M, Kenyatta National Hospital. N, Deposit Insurance Fund, Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation. O, Alupe University. P, Sigalagala National Polytechnic. Q, Rural Electrification Scheme. R, Kerio Valley Development Authority. S, Lake Victoria North Water Works Development Agency. T, Criminal Assets Recovery Fund. And U, Lake Victoria Water and Sanitation Project Grant Number CKE 109302M, credit number CKE 109301L, and EIB number F1 number 2011-0619, Lake Victoria South Water Works Development Agency. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Thank you, Owen. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Labor, Karemba.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 9th April 2024. Report of the Departmental Committee on Labor on its attendance to the Global Labor Market Conference in Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, from the 10th to the 17th of December 2023. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
A Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Lands. Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 9th April 2024. Reports of the Departmental Committee on Lands in its consideration of number 1, the National Land Commission Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 43 of 2023, and number 2, the Land Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 76 of 2023. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next, Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health, Dr. Pukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 9th April 2024. Report of the Departmental Committee on Health on its consideration of the Community Health Workers Bill, National Assembly Bill number 53 of 2022. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity, Yusuf.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 9th of April, 2024. Reports of the Select Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity on, number 1, benchmarking visit to South Africa from 26th March to 2nd April 2023. 2, a learning mission to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, from 17th to 23rd September 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Chairperson, Public Petitions Committee, 6. Setienei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Have you taken over from, what's his name?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Statement on status of a petition. Oh.
You are the Vice Chair?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Honorable
go ahead.
Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Statement on status of a petition regarding delays in posting medical interns, absorption of universal health coverage, contract staff, conclusion of collective bargaining agreement, and recognition of agreement in the health sector in the country. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2D and 208A to report to the House the status of public petition number 06 of 2024 regarding delays in posting medical interns, absorption of universal coverage, contract staff, conclusion of collective bargaining agreement, and recognition of agreement in the health sector in the country. Honorable Speaker, the House may recall that on Thursday, 7th March 2024, the member for Endebess constituency, the Honorable Dr. Robert Bukose, MP, presented the petition on behalf of representatives of the health sector unions, societies, and associations. Consequently, you referred the petition to the committee and directed that the committee provides a progress report on the petition today, Tuesday, 9th April 2024. Honorable Speaker, in line with your directive, Honorable Speaker, I wish to update the House on the progress the committee has made in considering the petition. In accordance to the standard operating procedures developed by the committee, it held its first meeting to receive briefing and analysis to unbundle the issues raised in the petition, and consequently, the committee identified the relevant stakeholders, the petitioner, the unions, the Cabinet Secretary, Health, Council of Governors, Cabinet Secretary of National Treasury and Economic Planning, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Public Works, Performance and Delivery Management, and Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Honorable Speaker, on Tuesday, 19th March 2024, the committee held a meeting with the petitioner, the Honorable Dr. Bukose, who made these submissions and shed more light on the petition. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, the committee met the various health sector unions, societies, and associations and deliberated on the petition and listened to the submissions. Honorable Speaker, on Wednesday, 20th March 2024, the committee met the Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. The Cabinet Secretary made submissions on the petition on various issues and raised in the petition touching on the mandate of the ministry. The issues included recognition of the registered health care workers, unions and associations, progress undertaken by the Conciliation Committee, and proposals on the long-term solutions to avert labor-related issues that occasions perennial strikes by healthcare workers. Honorable Speaker, the committee, via letter dated 13th March 2024, invited the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Health to appear on 27th March 2024. However, the Cabinet Secretary, via letter dated 25th March 2024, requested for rescheduling of the meeting. Honorable Speaker, the committee has since invited the Cabinet Secretary to appear before it on Wednesday, the 17th April 2024. Honorable Speaker, in light of the foregoing, the committee is proceeding with the stakeholder engagement and has scheduled the pending stakeholders to appear before it in the week commencing Thursday, 8th April 2024, in order to conclude on the petition. In conclusion, my committee underscores the important role played by the health practitioners in the country. In this regard, the committee is committed to consider the petition with a view to finding a lasting solution to resolve the perennial and current issues in the health sector. I would like to request the indulgence of the House to accord the committee more time to consider the petition to its logical conclusion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I hereby submit.
Dr. Bukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Janet and the Petitions Committee for having accorded me an opportunity together with the petitioners. Honorable Speaker, as you can listen to the cries in the gate, this is emanating basically from our medical doctors, interns, who are demonstrating in the street. And I want to bring to the attention of the members that already the Ministry of Health, I was there in the morning, and I was assured by the ministry that they already have letters for posting of intern doctors to the various hospitals. And they need to pick their letters. Their petition is already in the House and being prosecuted. The money for the registrars has already been sent to the various universities. Those are the two national issues that the ministry is supposed to deal with. The other issues that pertains to their CPS agreement and fulfillment are supposed to be dealt at the various counties. Honorable Speaker, my Committee of Health and the Senate Committee, we had scheduled a meeting for tomorrow. Unfortunately, tomorrow is a public holiday as gazetted for our brothers who are on fasting, Muslim brothers, and tomorrow they'll be breaking their fast. So we have rescheduled the meeting to Tuesday next week so that we can get the briefings from both the Ministry of Health, the National Treasury, and also the SRC, and together with the Ministry of Education to confirm to us the progress that they have made in fulfillment of part of the petition. But we want to encourage the Petitions Committee to move forward and be able to come up with the various recommendations. Normally, when people picketing come to the gate of Parliament, they want to hand off a petition. So currently, there is no they've already given their petition to the Petitions Committee, which I prosecuted in this House. So there is no petition which they have that they are handing over. All the petitions is being prosecuted by the Janet Sitienei-led committee, and we are happy with the progress. So with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I say thank you, and I want to urge our doctors to go to the Ministry of Health, collect their posting letters, and report to their various stations. They should. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Wandai. Are you on a point of order or you want to make? Use a microphone.
Honorable Speaker, I was just saying that I've just come in to Parliament and I've faced serious challenges and difficulties accessing Parliament just a few minutes ago.
Yes.
Because the whole of that gate facing County Hall is blockaded by multitudes of doctors clad in lab coats and other attire. Honorable Speaker, and I've listened to my friend, the chairman of the committee, my very good friend, Honorable Pukosi. We have a problem at hand. First and foremost, I think as Parliament we need to address that issue, that blockade, because it's likely to cause problems. But secondly, this issue of doctors, the manner we are treating it, it is likely not to go away. So I think this House, more than any other institution, has got a cardinal duty to rise to the occasion. Where everything else fails, this House must come in to address the issue head on, regardless of who is on the wrong and who is on the right, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are now almost in the 4th week and there are no signs of this strike abating. There are no signs at all of this strike abating. So these statements we are receiving here are not adding to anything. So something needs to be done. And that's something I heard the president say, that the government is broke, is unable to pay, and therefore is unable to pay and therefore won't pay. Honorable Speaker, he also advised that Kenyans, including doctors, must now start to live within their means. Fair enough, Honorable Speaker. But even as we say so, what are we doing to ensure that these doctors leave the streets? They have now come to actually blockade Parliament. You don't know what else will happen next, Honorable Speaker. As we speak, I'm hearing that other Kenyans are planning to join them. Honorable Speaker, there's no idle threat. Other Kenyans are actually planning now to join the doctors on the streets. Unless something happens and we can persuade the doctors to leave the streets and go back to the hospitals, Honorable Speaker, these statements will just remain statements. Honorable Speaker, this issue, I was talking to my friend, Honorable Dr. Nikal, who is a veteran medical doctor. Honorable Speaker, I'm even surprised that those who are in charge of the health ministry are unable to differentiate between medical students and intern doctors. Honorable Speaker, I have been advised, I'm a layman when it comes to health issues. I have been advised, and I've got every reason to believe the advice have been given. Honorable Speaker, intern doctors are not just students. These are people who have done 6 years in university, have actually graduated. As you know, doctors don't just graduate with one degree. They graduate with a degree on medicine and also surgery. So it's a twin degree that they get after 6 hard years in campus. These are people who you cannot treat as any other ordinary interns we see in the job market here. So I suppose that unless something is done.
There's a point of order on I. Yes, Bukosa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when we talk about medical officer intern, it is true that you've been in the university for 6 years. But architects have also been in university for 5 years, 6 years, engineers 5 years, and all of them after graduation, all of them graduate, then they can become interns, even engineers. So is the doctors. They have graduated, even lawyers graduate and they become interns. So internship is part of the training. Yeah, it is part of the training. And when you graduate as a doctor now, that you are going as an intern, you are under supervision by a senior doctor. After your 1 year of training under the doctor, if you don't qualify, because there is another qualification, I have to sign you that you are now fit to treat any other person. If I feel you are not fit to treat any other person, then I'll make you repeat again until I'm satisfied that you can treat somebody confidently and professionally without supervision. So this is part of the training. And I think we should not, and you see, we have those who are doing postgraduate, they are postgraduate students, also called registrars. So there is nothing, even when you are doing a PhD, you are a PhD student, there is nothing different from that. It's a training. What I also wanted to, Honorable, to correct the minority leader, is that Parliament prosecutes its activities through committees. We've already presented to the Petitions Committee, but we feel as Health Committee of the National Assembly, together with the Health Committee of the Senate, we can still prosecute some of the issues that might not have been addressed. And we had sought permission from the Speaker to sit tomorrow. But unfortunately, tomorrow is a public holiday. So we've already requested the Speaker that we sit on Tuesday next week, which has been, because where else can you be able to sit? Because once you reschedule the meeting, you have to inform those institutions. Ideally, it's supposed to take 7 days as per our standing orders. But we've requested for a special sitting to be done on Tuesday. And this has to be between the two houses, the National Assembly and the Senate.
And I wind up 1 minute.
Okay, Honorable Speaker, I hear the Honorable Chairman of the committee, also an accomplished medical doctor. But all that Honorable Pukose is saying, Honorable Speaker, with all due respect, is pure academics. It's academic because as we speak, we know for sure that even the 70,000 shillings you are offering the intern doctors is not in the collective bargaining agreement that was signed between the doctors and the government way back in 2017. That CBA has not been waived as we speak. So what is the government doing? Either to honor the CBA in letter and spirit or review it with the concurrence of the doctors. That is how labor issues are addressed, Honorable Speaker, the world over. So what we are being repeated to here is mere academic. I don't think we shall go far if this spirit continues, this kind of thinking. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving the opportunity to mention something. And I want to agree, Honorable Speaker, with what all the contributors to that statement, Honorable Speaker, are saying, that indeed our doctors are valued, and we all value our doctors because many of us depend on them. But, Honorable Speaker, it should not be lost to us that a decade ago, this country was only able to produce an average of 300 doctors from our two public universities that were churning out medical graduates. But today, courtesy of the huge investments that we have all made as a country in our education system, we are churning out an average of 1,500 intern doctors annually. What that means, Honorable Speaker, is that the interns would have been taken in 5 years are expected now to be taken in annually. And, Honorable Speaker, I'm saying that just to draw the picture to Kenyans of the kind of resources that are required. And, Honorable Speaker, also to put into perspective, the demands by our good doctors today are to be interned at an average of, I think, 206 or 207,000 shillings. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to this debate even in the public domain, in the media. And what our doctors are being told, yes, it is possible to pay 206,000 shillings to intern doctors, but take up less interns than those who are graduating. Honorable Speaker, this year alone, a total of 1,210 doctors, intern doctors, are being enlisted at a cost of 2.4 billion shillings within the resource envelope already allocated by this House, Honorable Speaker. So it's foolhardy for us to speak to the gallery to excite doctors at the gates of Parliament. But it's another thing when we come to budgeting, to budget and make sure that you have adequate resources. But those resources do not come from the moon. They come from taxes raised from Kenyans, which, again, the same people who are pontificating about how well we should treat our doctors are the same people who are at the forefront of opposing the finance bill that was supposed to raise taxes to pay these doctors, Honorable Speaker. But, Honorable Speaker, the interns, Honorable Speaker, that are to be employed, yes, it is true, it may not be possible to pay 206,000 shillings. And I agree with the Honorable Chair Pukose that just like all other interns in other professions, those engineers who are supposed to work under engineers for 2 years, lawyers, like many of us, including the leader of minority, I don't know if he has finished his pupillage. When he's under pupillage, he earns a mere 25. I am told in some law firms, lawyers do not even earn anything. Those who are under pupillage...
There is no obligation to pay a pupillage student in law.
And you know, Honorable Speaker, I will take your word as law because you have run a law firm, and an accomplished law firm. Therefore, lawyers, there is actually no obligation, as Honorable Speaker, you say, to pay intern lawyers under pupillage. So doctors indeed, to earn what they are earning today, are indeed among the most privileged professionals in our country. Honorable Speaker, beyond their internship, Honorable Speaker, and this internship, Honorable Speaker, is mandatory.
Point of order, Majority Leader. Yes, Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Standing order number 1. Is it in order, surely, for the Leader of Majority to compare a pupil who is not qualified to practice, who does not even appear in court, which is opposite to intern doctors who actually prescribe medicine? They actually treat people out there. So is it in order to compare those two professions? I'm a lawyer myself. I understand what I went through as a pupil. But that is very different from doctors, from intern doctors. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mwenje, if you listen to Dr. Bukose's very clear explanation, there is no difference. There's no difference. When I was a master to the Honorable Soipan, the Honorable Kindiki, and many others, they actually were obligated to show gratitude, and that is all. But I'm not saying it's applicable to doctors, because I don't want to wade into that. Majority Leader is on the floor. I'll give you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me not respond because you have responded to Honorable Mwenje, who claims to be a lawyer. The lawyer I know behind me is Honorable Njeri, who tells me that she would earn 12,000 shillings as a pupillage lawyer. Honorable Speaker, that's why I say this internship program can be likened to that pupillage, 2 years pupillage for lawyers, and also the 2 years postgraduate training practice for architects and engineers. And all these professions, Honorable Speaker, do not earn the quantum that our doctors are speaking. Honorable Speaker, when these doctors qualify after working under the supervision of qualified consultants and doctors, they join this public service at a grade higher than all other professionals. And those are facts, Honorable Speaker. And that means they earn more. But, Honorable Speaker, it must also not be lost to the country that our intern doctors are making a very critical point and speaking to the architecture of our Constitution. Our doctors for long have demanded the establishment of a Health Services Commission, Honorable Speaker. Today, while the intern doctors feel mistreated, is because they are being overworked in our county government establishments. And the day we opted in 2010 to fully devolve our health services, Honorable Speaker, we did a great injustice, not just to medical professionals, but to the people of Kenya. Today, Honorable Speaker, whether you are in a level 3 hospital, a level 4 hospital, or a level 1, or a health center, or a dispensary in your village, the person you will walk to treat you at your local dispensary is either a clinical officer. At your level 3 and level 4 hospitals are these intern doctors, Honorable Speaker. And they are being overworked by our governors and our county governments. That is a fact that we must state, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, the Council of Governors, Honorable Speaker, must come out and take their position, their rightful position in ensuring that hospitals within our country and within their respective counties, first, they have qualified doctors, and 2, that the intern doctors who work in those hospitals are not overworked. They are working under the supervision of other qualified personnel, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, today, facts are different. That intern doctors are actually the ones running our county hospitals across the country without exception. Yes. And those are facts, Honorable Speaker. They are carrying out surgeries, Honorable Speaker, without the supervision of qualified personnel. And therefore, these are issues, Honorable Speaker, that must not be left at the altar of the national government, but our Council of Governors and county governments must also take their rightful position, Honorable Speaker, because now this thing has been made to look like it is a question of the national government to deal with alone. Why it has become such a problem is because our healthcare is decaying and rotting under the hands of our county governments. If you read all our audit reports, all the Auditor General's reports, Honorable Speaker, including those from my own county in Kiambu, billions of shillings are being lost and pilfered by governors who have no regard to either the medical professionals or indeed any other professionals working in our county governments. But Honorable Speaker, because healthcare is a matter so dear to all of us, Honorable Speaker, I would beg and I would call on the striking doctors, whether it's medical interns, whether it is the clinical officers, whether it is the lab technicians, give dialogue a chance. And I say this because, Honorable Speaker, having co-chaired the National Dialogue Committee, I am now an experienced chair in matters dialogue. And I can tell them dialogue does work. But dialogue will not work from the streets. Dialogue will work from your boardrooms at the Ministry of Health, not at the gates of Parliament. Stop blocking parliamentarians from coming to speak on your behalf. We are here to speak on your behalf. They shouldn't block the Honorable Njeri or the Honorable Marianne Keitany from accessing the gates of Parliament. Or indeed the leader of minority who was coming, or he joined them to address them. Honorable Speaker, we should, let me say, we empathize with them, but we also want to appeal to our medical professionals that as we deal with the challenges that are there in our country, they are part and parcel of our nation. Any patient that we lose during this strike will never recover, will never get back their life. Therefore, I want to appeal to them to get back to work. And those interns whose letters are already with their governors, please, medical interns, go pick up your letters and get back to work. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Dr. Nyikal. Honorable members, you know, this was a progress or interim report on a petition. After Dr. Nyikal, we'll move to something else.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving this opportunity. I feel sad that in this country...
Prosecute your views quickly, you have 3 minutes.
That in this country, when the lives of ordinary people is concerned, we speak without feelings. 2 days ago, a 2-year-old child died literally in my house, having gone to hospital for 2 days and not seen. Mr. Speaker, what we are seeing is a symptom of the problem of the health systems. We are dealing with human resource. We have this problem. We are dealing with supplies. We have problems in Kemsa, you have heard them. We are dealing with financing. You know we are having problems there. Mr. Speaker, here, what we are dealing with is basically the definition of the human resource we have. Mr. Speaker, the word intern for doctors is international. It is not just here. It's all over the world. Mr. Speaker, what does an intern do? At the levels where interns work, they have qualified. They have got their degrees, MBCHB. They have taken the Hippocratic Oath. They are doctors. Now, when they work, it is like you employ a bank manager and say they are under probation and they still be supervised by that bank manager. You therefore do not say they are a student and you do not pay them. A doctor will see, an intern will see you, examine you, do the tests that are required, put you on treatment, review you. They will only seek advice from a consultant if they meet a problem, which is done in every profession. If they admit you today, nobody may see you until tomorrow when the round is done and they say this is what they are done and the patient is doing well, we are planning to discharge. If they've been in obstetrics, for example, for a month, they will be supervised when they're doing the first 1 or 2 cesarean sections. After that, they will do the cesarean sections on their own and report to their seniors. I've done this, I've done this. Please, Mr. Speaker, time is with us. I just want to give this explanation.
Order. If your time is up, it is up. I'll give you 1 minute to finish up.
So, Mr. Speaker, when we equate an intern with all other interns, that is where the mistake is. And worldwide, it is not like that. Engineers, architects are in all countries. There is not the same thing.
Thank you, Dr. Nyekal. Next. Yes, member for Order, Nyekal. Yes, member for Stare. Order, Dr. Nyekal. I know you have vast experience in the medical world, Bukose and others. Go on, Mwenje, not Mwenje. Mwango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I really wanted to contribute to this issue because the picketing is actually happening in my constituency, and I'm getting calls from all corners asking me what's going on in my constituency. And it is such a shame that we've come to this point that doctors can actually picket, given that the doctor's career is one of the most superior careers or most lucrative for us, mostly the youth. And the issue of interns, the issue of doctors, I happen to have a sit down with the officials of the association. And it is clear some members in this house do not understand the issues that the doctors are talking about, because they have clear-cut issues, some which come from 2017 when they were promised some salary increment, and up to date that has not been effected. The issue of revising the salaries of the interns under the CBA system, where they are being forced to adopt the SRC system, which cut down their salaries from 206,000 Kenyan shilling, 271,000 shillings.
Honorable Mwango, what you are saying is what is being prosecuted before the committee. And if you had listened to Honorable Sitianei, you probably would have.
Yeah, I really wanted to bring the issues to the fore because I don't think the doctors are even in the mood to picket. It's only that they have not been listened to. And also there's the other issue that the majority leader has brought out so well, saying that there are more than 2,200 intern doctors who have graduated and are going to be adopted. As from the records, as from 2018, there were 7,893 doctors in this country. As of now, we have 9,000 and some 600 something. It's only 1,800 doctors who have been adopted and employed from interns to be doctors. So there are so many doctors who are overqualified who are working as interns in this country. And I agree with him that our interns are being overworked in the county hospitals, and it is only right that they be remunerated the right way. Paying a doctor 70,000 shillings is not even fair, and these are people who are charged to take care of the health care of our people. And we are saying the other time they picketed, they were confronted by the police, and even some of them were tear gassed. And we are saying any police officer who is going to tear gas these doctors, when he falls sick, he too should not be treated in these hospitals by these same doctors. Thank you.
Last on this, Ruku. 2 minutes or 3 minutes like everybody else.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the county governments have very serious functions as far as health sector is concerned. One of the functions, Mr. Speaker, is budgeting, financial management. Also, when it comes to medical supplies, as well as provision of emergency medicine. Mr. Speaker, all the dispensaries, level 4 hospitals, and level 5 hospitals across the nation are under the management of the county government. But almost 80% or more than 80% of the county government in the Republic of Kenya, they have failed Kenyans in a serious manner as far as management of health sector in our country is concerned. Mr. Speaker, this House must call upon all county government that they have to take this matter of health in the most serious manner. Failure to which we need to institute a constitutional change where we are going to ensure health sector should not be devolved. Even if it takes a referendum, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans are suffering, and they are suffering under the hands of our county government across the country. It is true, there are few counties which they have managed to manage the health sector in the most appropriate way. We have a few of them, 4 or so counties, but the rest is pathetic. If you go to Kenyatta Hospital, it's level 6 hospital. Kenyatta University Referral Hospital is level 6 hospital. We are now seeing some of these challenges, meaning that the national government is able to take care of the health sector, is able to take care of level 6 hospitals in the most appropriate way. But we have seen many problems in our level 5 hospitals, level 4 hospitals, and dispensaries. It is upon the county government to ensure they take their responsibility seriously, a responsibility which they have been mandated by the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Order, honorable members. Members on their feet, take your seats. Members on their, take your seats. DK, take your seat. Thank you. Honorable members, we'll go back to order number 2 for a communication that was delayed. Honorable members, I wish to welcome you back to the House after the short recess, which coincided with the observance of the Easter period for Christians and Ramadan for the Muslims. It is my hope that you are well renewed in your spirits and rejuvenated in your minds to resume transaction of the business of the House for the remainder of the first part of this session. During this period, honorable members, this House is expected to consider various priority businesses, including assessing the suitability of persons nominated for appointment to the positions of ambassadors and high commissioners, ratification of the Kenya-European Union Economic Partnership Agreement, EPAS, consideration of priority bills, as well as the budget-related matters. Instructively, honorable members, it is projected that the National Treasury will submit the budget estimates for the national government for the financial year 2024-25 on or before 30th April 2024. Additionally, honorable members, you will recall that prior to the short recess, the House passed the Division of Revenue Bill 2024 and referred it to the Senate for bicameral consideration. It is therefore expected that the Senate will send the bill back together with the annual count allocation of revenue bill for financial year 2024-25 during this part of the session. From the foregoing, it is evident that the House has a full in-tray. As a result, your dedication and commitment to the business of the House, both in plenary and committees, will be of paramount significance. Honorable members, with respect to facilitation of members, the Parliamentary Service Commission is expediting the completion of the Bunge Tower in order to bridge the deficit in office accommodation for members. Consequently, PSC has established that members' offices in the building will be ready for occupation by the end of this week. Honorable members, you may recall, on 1st November 2022, I directed the clerk to allocate part of the building earmarked for the National Assembly in readiness for occupation at the appropriate time. Further, I prescribed the criteria for allocation, consequent to which the clerk allocated the offices, committee rooms, and auxiliary facilities in the tower. Having said that, honorable members, I also wish to inform the House that Kenya will host the 2024 annual meetings of the African Development Bank, AFDB Group. The annual meetings will be held at the Kenyatta International Conference Center, KICC, from 27th to 31st May 2024, and will bring together high-level delegates, among them being heads of state and governments. In this regard, and in order to accord the delegates appropriate facilitation, the National Treasury has requested Parliament to release 47 offices at KICC to accommodate the dignitaries with effect from Thursday, 11th April 2024. To this end, honorable members, the Parliamentary Service Commission has acceded to the request to temporarily release the offices released by the Commission and the KICC during the African Development Bank annual meetings. Clearly, this will necessitate the relocation of 42 members of this House who are currently accommodated at KICC. In this regard, honorable members, the first occupation of members' offices in the Bunge Tower will be undertaken in accordance with the schedule of allocation prepared by the Clerk of the National Assembly. Phase 1 will involve moving members from KICC to the Tower or other alternative accommodation, and this will commence on Thursday, 11th April 2024. For clarity, honorable members, the exercise will proceed as follows. First, all members currently in the Harambee Circle Plaza who are allocated offices in the Tower will immediately relocate to their new offices in the Bunge Tower. This is intended to create room to accommodate members relocating from KICC who were unsuccessful in the balloting for offices in the Bunge Tower. And second, members with offices at KICC who are allocated offices in the Bunge Tower are to be relocated to the assigned offices in the Bunge Tower. Phase 2 of the relocation will entail the following. A, relocation of members from Continental House to the Bunge Tower for those who are allocated offices in the new tower. B, relocation of members from leased offices to the Bunge Tower from 1st July 2024 for the case of members who are allocated offices in the tower. And C, allocation of appropriate offices in other buildings within Parliament Square to members moving from Continental House or leased premises who are not allocated offices in the Bunge Tower. Honorable members, the measures stated above are for the convenience of all members and in preparation for the official opening of the Bunge Tower by the head of state later this month. I therefore urge you to cooperate with the Office of the Clerk in order to ensure seamless execution of this important exercise. Finally, honorable members, may I take this opportunity to wish the Muslim community in Parliament and in the entire nation Eid Mubarak. The House is accordingly guided. Thank you. And members, Musisumbue Clerk, if you are located at an office and you are in KICC, you have to move by Thursday, day after tomorrow, because the Treasury is taking those offices to prepare for the ADB meeting that I've just mentioned. Please cooperate with the Office of the Clerk, and in a very short time to come, Bunge Tower will be opened officially, and we hope to move as many of members from both houses to that tower. Thank you.
Order number 8, the National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the establishment, roles and functions of the Kenya National Council for Population and Development and for the establishment of the Board of the Council and for connected purposes. Order number 9, the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to amend the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to establish the Technopolis Development Authority to provide a framework for the development and management of technopolises and for connected purposes. Order number 11, the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to establish the office of the Commissioner for Cooperative Development at the national level of government and the office of the County Director for Cooperatives in each county government to provide for promotion, registration and regulation of cooperatives, to provide for intergovernmental cooperative relations and for connected purposes.
Hold there. Order, honorable members. Order. Order, Musa Sirma. What you are doing is out of order. Honorable members, take your seats. I know it's the first day after a short recess, but the levels of excitement far outweigh the 2 weeks you have been away. Naisula, what's your point of order? Give her the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unless I did not hear clearly, but having listened to Honorable Sitene of Tarbo and the weighty matter that she presented on the petition, Mr. Speaker, she was requesting for more time for them to complete the petition. And I thought that it would be important for you to give direction on how much more time they can have, looking at the gravity of the matter, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Naisula. I should have given you time at that time, but there was a lot of loud consultations. Honorable Sitiene, are you in the House? The way I understood it, Naisula, is Dr. Bukosi said I have permitted them actually to meet tomorrow, which has turned out to be a public holiday. So for them to invite outsiders to Parliament, our standing orders require 2 weeks, 7 days. So they have requested that they'll expedite the invitations to meet on Tuesday. As to the Honorable CTNA, I hope that by the close of next week or a week after, we'll mention the matter. They will have concluded what they are doing to bring a report to the House. I know that that committee has a lot of backlog, but I was briefed today that they have improved and increased their speed in processing petitions in a manner that is unprecedented, and they are churning out reports that will be coming to the House. So members who have presented petitions on behalf of other Kenyans, when those reports come, you know we are not obligated to debate them. You need to go through them, and if there are any issues you wish to raise, you bring it to the attention of the Speaker, and I'll accommodate you. Thank you. Before we call the next order, honorable members, allow me to acknowledge the following in the public gallery: EAPC church pastors from Runyenjes in Embu, and Koiwa Central Secondary School from Konoin in Bomet. I've been requested by the Honorable Karemba to welcome his constituents from Embu. I give you 2 minutes, Honorable Karemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to welcome the clergy from the East Africa Pentecostal churches in Kenya. And I am very delighted, Honorable Speaker, to have these members of the clergy here, led by one Right Reverend Bishop John Jeru, who was once my Sunday school teacher, but has now become the general overseer of the church. Honorable Speaker, they have come at a time when we are having a doctor's strike, and their entry to Parliament has been obstructed. So it has taken them a little longer to get to this place. But I am sure, Honorable Speaker, that by them getting in here, things will never be the same again. I know them. I know how much they pray, and they're going to pray over this issue, and I am sure soon and very soon we are going to have a solution to the ongoing doctor strike. So, Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank you for the opportunity to welcome them. They have been very important in the service to humanity, and we have partnered with them long enough to offer services to our people, and we meet every so often to ensure that our people are properly taken care of, both spiritually and also politically. So thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Karemba. Next order.
Order number 12, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, National Assembly Bill number 24 of 2023, second reading, resumption of debate.
Honorable members, is Honorable Andrew Okwome in the House? My record shows that he had 9 minutes to go. Is he in the House? Position forfeited. Now, honorable members, I see the screen is full with Honorable Ounda at the top. Is it to debate this bill, or you are there for something else? Give Ounda the mic.
Mr. Honorable Speaker, I also welcome you back from the short recess.
Yes.
I'd already made my contribution on this bill,
Yes.
so I leave it for somebody else to continue. I already made my contribution.
Honorable, just hold on. Honorable members, if you are on the screen, it's very good. You have now been wiped out. So if you want to speak to this bill, now you can log in. Oundo, proceed.
I had already made a contribution to this bill. That's why I'm logging out, Chair.
You had already made a contribution?
Yes, yes.
Why were you top on the list on my screen?
Well, probably they just like me, Honorable Speaker. It's not my mistake.
Honorable Geoffrey Ruku.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to contribute or to support this bill as far as the National Disaster Risk Management Bill is concerned. Mr. Speaker, we realize this country has witnessed a number of disasters, and one of the problems which we have always faced when we have a national disaster is mobilization of resources to mitigate deadly outcomes. And mostly we have disasters such as drought. At the moment we are witnessing France as well as terror attacks. So this bill will seek to ensure we extend mobilization of resources so that in case of drought, many families and lives are not lost. In case of France, we ensure there is immediate mobilization of resources to take care of France. Also, we have seen terror attacks in this country, but we are fortunate enough at the moment we have stayed for quite a number of years without any terror attack. And we thank our security agencies for the good work they are doing. But in case of a terror attack, Mr. Speaker, we need a proper law in place to ensure there is quick mobilization of resources to ensure it is well taken care of. Also, Mr. Speaker, the formalization of ensuring there's proper public-private partnership in case of a disaster. When we have a disaster, Mr. Speaker, there are always consequences which may need in future to be mitigated so that the impact of that disaster may not stay with us for ages. And therefore, a situation where we may want to have public-private partnership. This bill is bringing in such a kind of a model which can be adopted to ensure there is a proper formulation of a public-private partnership. Also, Mr. Speaker, we know that disasters, there's loss of life, there's loss of property. This bill will ensure that there will be less, or there will be reduction of loss of life and property occasioned by disasters such as floods, such as drought, and such as a terror attack. Mr. Speaker, I think this is a good bill which is looking into the posterity of our nation, and that's why I do support. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Beatrice Elachi. Honorable Undo, you said you had already spoken on this bill.
Thank you, Mr.
You've logged in again.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support this bill. And Mr. Speaker, just to speak on the perennial disasters that we normally find ourselves, especially in Nairobi, and one of them being indeed now the floods that we have. And when you look at the memorandum of objects, Mr. Speaker, the bill is establishes the Intergovernmental Council on Disaster Risk Management and the National Risk Management Authority to ensure that there is coordination of disaster risk management issues at the national and county level. But it also says in one of the articles, Mr. Speaker, that the President may, and I'm wondering, may, when there is a disaster, why would the President may? The President shall, should be the word that we need to use. Because when we are talking of disasters, Mr. Speaker, that is the time now where we need the national government to come in. Because when you look at how county governments are structured today, Mr. Speaker, and any disaster that happens, even just the recent one, that we had a flash rain on a Sunday night and the whole thing goes into disaster. Mr. Speaker, you find that the counties will take more than 10 hours to come and even just support a very simple thing that needs to be done. And so if you tell me in disaster's time that now the national government should not come in, then that one we will have serious challenges in this country. We've seen disasters in Mandera. We've seen what has happened there, either in drought or in floods, or even just buildings coming down. So one of the things we should be asking ourselves, as much as the bill looks at the shared functions, and it says this is a shared function between the national and county government, I think, Mr. Speaker, we must ensure this is a more function of the national government. What the county can only come and do to support is to ensure they avail not resources of money, but manpower. But resources must come from the national government, just the way in the US when they have a national disaster. It is the federal government that comes in to stand with the people. Mr. Speaker, the other thing, Kenyans don't know when they are in disaster about county or national. So why can't we just tie up the bill and just say when there is serious disaster, it is the national government to take responsibility? And Mr. Speaker, when you look at part 1 of the bill, which contains the preliminary provisions, but then when you move down, you ask yourself, this council of intergovernmental, is it a council now where you bring us again the national team, which is already there, plus the county, or we get people who are expertise, who understand how to deal with disaster? The other day I looked at Thailand, Mr. Speaker, and they had an earthquake. And everyone in the world was shocked in how they managed that disaster. And the next morning when people were waking up, they had cleared cleared even the bodies. They were now just removing those who were stuck and everything. So even as we speak at this, we must know as a country, we are never ready on any disaster. We are never ready. We now find ourselves in disaster is when we wake up and realize disaster is happening. So for me, the first thing, and we must do the simple things that create now disaster. Like now, we know why we have floods in Nairobi. It's because the drainages are blocked. And so who are those responsible in ensuring, first of all, we have drainage, second, they are unblocked? The county has to just look at it, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a bill that comes in at the right time, yes, but it's a bill we need to really ask ourselves, because I can see many of the functions sought to go back to the counties, and yet we are saying the counties do not have capacity for now. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we support this bill, there is need for us to tidy up a lot of the things that have been put. And one of the things we are saying, for example, the office of a member of a county committee shall become, that was when they are becoming vacant. But this county committee that we are putting, Mr. Speaker, if now we already have, how do we ensure, first of all, they are empowered? And so we must ask ourselves where the national government is, because I can see the county committee, and when you hear what the national government is coming to do, then you realize this is a function you have ensured, skewed it more to the counties, yet we know very well they don't have money to deal with these disasters. The thing that counties deal with mostly, Mr. Speaker, in their disaster is when they are looking for unga to buy for the people who are hungry, sometimes mabati. But these tough things that come, and God forbid, the way we are doing all these things in Nairobi, the housing and all that, if anything happens, and with this rain, the way it is raining every day, Mr. Speaker, we have to be very serious when we are saying we want this function to be with the county. So for me, Mr. Speaker, I propose that when we come to really the committee of the whole, we need to look at how do we tighten up and ensure the national government takes control of more of these disasters than the county governments. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support.
Thank you, Member for Dagoretti. Timothy Toroitich, Marakwet West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this very important motion on national disaster, bill on national disaster risk management. Honorable Speaker, under the Constitution, disaster management is a function of the county government. But Honorable Speaker, if you read the fourth schedule, it suggests that this function is a shared function. And Honorable Speaker, it is prudent that we set up a proper legal and institutional framework to manage disaster in this country. Honorable Speaker, whenever there is disaster in this country, what normally happens is that the county government allocates money. The national government allocates money to the county governments, but this money has never been utilized to meet its intended purpose. Honorable Speaker, the formation of the formation of what you call intergovernmental council to be able to oversee the funds that have been channeled to the county government is, for me, a fundamental way of solving issues of disaster in this country. Honorable Speaker, disaster cannot be said to belong to either the national government or the county government. When a disaster strikes, the people who are affected do not belong to the national government, do not belong to the county government. Honorable Speaker, these are the residents of this country. They are those who occupy Kenya, and therefore, the national government and the county government must be able to sit down and be able to resolve the challenges faced by people without selecting whether it is a national government or a county government. Honorable Speaker, what is happening now is that this matter, the issues of disasters in this country, as we speak, is purely the purpose of a county government. Honorable Speaker, in my opinion, when it comes to the review of our constitution, which must ultimately come in the near future, this function should and must be transferred fully to the national government. Honorable Speaker, in this country, under Article 91 of the Constitution, the county governments are charged with making laws in certain devolved functions. But, Honorable Speaker, there is a problem because of what you call cross-border legislations. Honorable Speaker, since this matter is devolved, you find that already 47 county governments have made various legislations which sometimes are conflicting. Honorable Speaker, we must have a cross-border legislation. Honorable Speaker, the only way which you can have a cross-county legislation is establishing a national legal framework, which we are doing today, so that we provide a uniform legislation that guides the 47 county governments. Honorable Speaker, we have a challenge in this country in terms of conflict of legislations that are being channeled by county assemblies for the reason that certain functions are devolved. So, Honorable Speaker, we must think as a country that if a function is shared between the national government between the national government and the county government, then there must be a uniform set of law that provides very clearly that this function is shared, and for that reason, we do not have what you call conflict of legislations which may bring issues. Honorable Speaker, we have challenges. For example, I had a chance to work in the county government, in the county assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet. Honorable Speaker, I am one of the drafters of the Elgeyo Marakwet County Assembly legislation on disaster management. But, Honorable Speaker, as I was drafting that legislation, I realized that there was a problem because where I was as the legal counsel acting for the county assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet at that time, I realized that my neighboring county, which is Uasin Gishu County Government, had also had a similar legislation on the issue of disaster. Honorable Speaker, for example, if at that period of time, this other county do not have enough facilities, then it means the neighboring county must be able to assist another county in terms of facilities. Honorable Speaker, if we do not have a uniform legislation, if we do not have an authority which governs both the national government and the county government, if we do not have a council which is intergovernmental, then you may realize that another county may suffer at the expense of another county. So, Honorable Speaker, I rise, I support this legislation and pray that this authority that has been established will serve its intended purpose as was envisaged, as was provided for in the Constitution. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I have read the functions of this particular intergovernmental council which has been provided under Clause 6 of the bill. Honorable Speaker, one of the functions of this intergovernmental council is to advise and make recommendations to the cabinet and the summit. Honorable Speaker, whenever there is an emergency, whenever there is a disaster, the cabinet must be notified and shall be notified by this council, so that county governments, whenever there is a disaster in a particular county, the county governments cannot make decisions without involving the national government. For policy direction and approve plans on all activities related to disaster risk management. Honorable Speaker, as I have said, the disaster cannot belong to a particular county. When a disaster strikes, it affects our citizens. It affects Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, therefore, there must be a specific policy direction that is approved by that particular council. Honorable Speaker, if I read further, it is also to receive and consider and make decisions based on reports and recommendations. Honorable Speaker, this House makes certain policy recommendations that there must be a council that approves that authority. Honorable Speaker, I have read the bill. That council must be one that serves both levels of government and therefore is entitled to make that particular. Honorable Speaker, finally, that authority, that council also reports to the cabinet. Honorable Speaker, the cabinet, in terms of policy directives, all policies that affect government must be approved at the cabinet level. So, Honorable Speaker, that particular council ensures that decisions relating or policies relating to disaster management are approved by the cabinet. Honorable Speaker, as I finish, I commend the direction we have taken as a country I commend the direction we have taken as a House, that, Honorable Speaker, when a matter is shared between the national government and the county government, then as a House, we must sit down, we scrutinize the fourth schedule so that we do not have what you call conflict of legislations emanating from our county assemblies. We must have a uniform set of laws that governs the 47 counties in this country to avoid conflict of legislation and conflict of representation in various cadres. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill. When it comes to the committee of the whole House, I will propose the necessary amendments so that we can be able to strengthen the provisions of this particular proposed legislation. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Timothy. Honorable members, order. Before I give the next speaker, allow me to recognize in the speakers and public gallery students, and I believe with teachers, from Ogande Girls High School, Homa Bay Town in Homa Bay. I've been requested by the Honorable TJ Kajwang to welcome the students. I give you 1 minute, TJ, because it's in the middle of debate. Give Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for asking me to welcome a huge delegation from Ogande Girls Secondary School, 300 girls visiting us. We have had delegations of students visiting us, but we have not had 300 students coming in one delegation. These are fourth formers, history students, as you see them, brilliant and bright. And on behalf of their member, Honorable George Opondo Kaloma, I want to welcome them to this House, that they have an opportunity to see the Speaker himself and the House as assembled. This should give them inspiration that in a few months coming, these young people should be doctors that you were talking about this morning. These young people very few should be lawyers, and none should be a politician, but most of them should be engineers. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable Gideon Mulyungi, Mwingi Central. Gideon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this very important bill, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill. Mr. Speaker, there has been a problem in Kenya. Whenever we are faced with a disaster, the coordination of responses is disjointed. And in most cases, we are mainly reactive and not reactive. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support that we establish the Intergovernmental Council on Disaster Management and the National Disaster Risk Management Authority at both the levels of government, both at the national government and the county government. Because in most cases, the county government does not know what the national government is doing, and also the national government does not know what the county government is doing. Mr. Speaker, there has been in the past many disasters witnessed in Kenya. And some of them, they just happen and nothing happens in terms of responses. If I give an example, Mr. Speaker, when we were attacked by terrorists at the Westgate Mall, Mr. Speaker, there was a lot of hues and cries all over. And the coordination was not well done. And therefore, if there is a standing authority, a standing committee that is prepared and on a day-to-day basis deals with the disaster and nothing else, in my view, I think the country will be moving in the right direction. Mr. Speaker, as we gather here in this house, the gate of Parliament is closed by mendics because of a problem that has arisen. And Mr. Speaker, I consider this one as a disaster because many Kenyans are dying in hospitals because of lack of doctors. And an authority like this one, which prepares for such kind of cases, will come in handy to deal with cases of disasters, because what is happening in our hospitals now is a disaster. Mr. Speaker, the other day we witnessed El Nino rains all over Kenya, and many roads were destroyed. And there has been no intervention at all in terms of repairing most of those roads. Some of them are trunk roads, some of them are feeder roads. And in a situation whereby we have this kind of an authority and an apex coordination committee, it will deal with disconnected roads all over the country whenever those kind of emergencies happens. Mr. Speaker, also we are witnessing a lot of increased level of road carnage. And Mr. Speaker, a situation like this one can be addressed by an authority like this one, which deals with the emergencies of road carnage. Mr. Speaker, we have also in the past witnessed increased high cost of living. Farming in the northern frontiers and also in the counties in Ukambani, where relief food is being distributed all over the counties. And Mr. Speaker, an authority like this one will prepare itself to deal with such kind of emergencies. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, where I come from, I want to support this on behalf of the people of Mwingi, that we establish this disaster risk management committee and authority so that it can deal with the disasters in Kenya. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robert Basil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this bill on very many reasons. We need to acknowledge that disasters such as floods, famine, fire, and diseases disrupt functioning of community, more so increase vulnerabilities. Mr. Speaker, one of the key reasons why I support this bill is because disasters strike without any particular warning, and it's important to cushion our people from loss of life and properties. Number two, Mr. Speaker, we need to equip our people with the right skills and training, and having a fund to support training and capacity building is very essential and is one of the reasons why I support this particular bill. Number three, Mr. Speaker, we need to ensure people recover better. We call it building back better. And this can only be facilitated when we have a fund that can be able to support such an initiative. Number four, Mr. Speaker, a proper response to disaster issues or the destruction caused by disasters is important. And this particular fund will support response to disasters, and that is why, Mr. Speaker, I add my voice to support the bill. Number five, Mr. Speaker, we need to understand that although disaster management is a shared responsibility between the county government and the national government, the issues to do with the capacity of county government to manage disaster, more so the fund for disaster response, is questionable. And that's why, as a House, when we are going to be making an amendment to this bill, we need to agree where to sit this particular fund so that at least we bestow or we place the fund
to an authority or a government with the right capacity, and no doubt that is the national government that will be able to manage the fund and make sure it is properly utilized. So, Mr. Speaker, now I can see Madam Speaker, I do say that with the due consideration, and having looked to the important function this particular fund is going to play, I fully support the bill, and I do applaud the move of the bill, who is the leader of majority, Honorable Ichung'wah, for bringing the bill, which is very timely, considering now we are times of rains, and we are likely to witness floods, which are going to cause destructions. And more so when you hear floods, we can't talk, or we can't exonerate waterborne diseases like cholera, which are likely to emerge because of the current rains and floods. So having a fund is important, and I support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Teso South, Honourable Mary Emase.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this bill. Madam Speaker, this is a very good bill. From the onset, I support, because it is bringing together, creating a link between national government and county government on issues management of disaster. Because what we have seen in the past, Madam Speaker, flooding in many areas of this country, accidents, name them, you find that there is no coordination, and response is delayed. And sometimes these monies, when they are sent to the county governments, because it's a devolved function to deal with the issues of disaster, sometimes the money, there are issues of accountability in respect to the management of these resources. So when I see that there will be a disaster committee in every county that onboards all important stakeholders, like the Red Cross, St. John's Ambulance, county commissioner, county commander, the governor, and all stakeholders within the county. And this particular council will just be focusing and dedicating and putting all its efforts towards management of disaster. Then, Honorable Speaker, I foresee a situation where we're going to have proper management and quick responses to addressing or mitigating issues around a disaster. So, Madam Speaker, I support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member, Honourable Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And Honourable Speaker, I also stand to support this particular bill because, Honourable Speaker, I actually believe that this bill has come to the House at the right time, and I think it's very progressive because in the past we've always been dealing with disaster issues in this country with a knee-jerk reaction. We wait until a disaster occurs, and then we quickly look for a solution that only solves the problem at that particular time, or in some instances doesn't even solve it. And Honourable Speaker, when I say this, I'm just thinking back, reflecting back to the last 2 weeks, when we had a situation where the expressway was flooded and we could not be able to access it. And yet, if we had such an authority within the county of Nairobi, they would have been able to actually analyze situations based on historical data that we have to be able to know whether or not something is going to happen or preempt issues that are going to happen. Honourable Speaker, especially during a time when we have so many climate change issues, and the climate change issues that we have range from different counties, and different counties experience different types of issues. Like, for example, Honourable Speaker, when I speak about my county in Nyamira, the disasters and risk management issues that are in that county would probably be very different from another county like Mombasa. And so having these particular authorities customized to the specific counties is very progressive. And Honourable Speaker, I want to also believe that once this is established, that the people who will be part of these particular authorities will be able to go back into the history of the different types of disasters, the different types of risk associated with the areas that they are they govern, so that they can be able to actually customize them according to their areas. Honorable Speaker, of particular interest for me is Part 3 of the bill, where it talks about classification of disaster plans and electronic information system. And why I like this, Honorable Speaker, is because with time and the fact that we are very much in the technological space, we need to actually customize our bills to be able to bring in an aspect of IT. Because, Honorable Speaker, without data, you will not be able to even have a clear view of what you're dealing with. You need data, Honorable Speaker, for you to be able to even make a comprehensive report, and for you to be able to even speak to other people who you want to be able to assist as well. Honorable Speaker, I also like the part that in Part 2 of Part 3 of the electronic information system, that it also mentions that this data will be accessible to the public. And not only that, but that also they will ensure that Data Protection Act of 2019 is taken into consideration. Because, Honorable Speaker, again, for as much as we want our people to be able to access data, we must also safeguard them. But in having said that, we cannot safeguard ourselves too much to an extent that we are stifling innovation. And, Honorable Speaker, I'd just like to throw a spanner in the works in terms of this particular bill, because I've gone through it, but I've not seen any aspect of AI. And what I'm talking about, Honorable Speaker, is, for example, the current issue we have with our fertilizer. If we had a drone-based system in this country that would have been able to quickly analyze the fertilizer that you're receiving, analyze the soils, figure out what the pH of the soils is, and be able to determine note to note in terms of what you want to actually put in different soils, then we'd not be having this kind of problems. And so I just want to urge all of us, when you are coming up with these very progressive bills like this particular one, we should also always include an aspect of AI, because artificial information, Honorable Speaker, is very important. We cannot ignore it anymore in this country, and it also just helps us to make our work easy. And so I just want to encourage the person who sponsored this bill, at the time of amendments, when the amendments come, and we bring in amendments that are relating to IT and information system, that they do allow us to bring in some of these progressive ideas. Honorable Speaker, with those very short remarks, I do support.
The Honorable Member for Kwanza, Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this bill. I think it's very important that we establish units or departments in both that can be able to correspond with whatever happens in the county. Currently, Madam Speaker, you see, and from the experience, at times you find something has happened in the county, and you find there's no spark up, either from the government or from the county government. So if we have set up a coordination, a departmental unit that will be able to deal with whatever disaster that we'll be able to have, you never know, one of which is, for example, we have these floods. The floods sometimes affect areas, and then of course you as a member of parliament, you don't know whether it should come to you, and you don't have that kind of money for emergency. When you involve the county government, they equally say they don't have that kind of thing. But if you have that disaster management unit, will be able to assist. We have cases where, for example, a bridge is broken because of the flooding or whatever disaster it is. Madam Speaker, you find yourself in a very awkward situation. As a leader, you don't know who to refer to. Had a case, for example, of flood covering almost there were two wards. I didn't even know what to do, because when I called my counterpart, I called my governor, and he said, but where do I get the money from? I didn't even have that as well.
So, Madam Speaker, this is quite appropriate, and I think what we should do is to have this risk management bill passed as soon as possible so that you can be able to allocate whatever funds are going to be there and give the guidelines as to how to use that fund. Because, of course, if you just put it there, it's so that you have, if there's any emergency, you have got the central government through the member of parliament or women rep involved, plus, of course, the county government, so that it can be a secondary to the expenditure of such funds. Those risk management, Madam Speaker, risk management bill, as I see it here, is something very, very important, and I think I request this House to pass it yesterday, not today, not tomorrow, so that can be able to move faster and be able to deal with some of the disasters that actually occur without giving a warning. So I want to take this opportunity to support this, and I hope the House can have this, because we are members who are affected all the time. Even some of the small little things like a bridge or even a road. So you find that they are actually coming to you. And if you have this kind of funds, you can be able to see how much each side can spend. So I support this bill. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Sigor, Honorable Locha Kapong. Oh, yes, I'm told you're the mover, but you have your card. So you can actually, pull it out. Okay, thank you. The Honorable Edith Nyenze, member for Kitui West.
Speaker, I would like to contribute to the next one. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kisumu, Honorable Shakil Shabir.
Madam, I'm actually beaten. I was just trying to log in, so I'll be excused, please. I don't have a contribution at this moment.
The Honorable Member for Vihiga, Honorable Beatrice Adagala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also contribute on this bill. On the onset, Madam Speaker, I'll support this bill before I even talk, because it has come at the right time, whereby we have several emergencies that take place in the country, and especially our counties. You'll find, like my county, there is a disaster, a school has burnt down, or anything like in the gold mines, they rush to the county woman MP looking for money to sponsor those kind of disasters. And Madam Speaker, in our kitty, as you all know, the women rep have no money to go towards such disasters. Like there was a case in one of the wards whereby the rains caused havoc, so many houses were blown away, and people look at you as the county woman rep to go and give money for those kind of calamities, which we cannot afford to bear, Madam Speaker. So I think if this can be put into consideration, and also the county government plus the national government, we put our efforts together so that when we have a kit for this kind of disaster when it happens. Like right now, you are seeing floods all over, houses are being swept, and now we have it very rough as members of parliament, and especially the women reps, because everybody, when houses are swept, everybody tells the people, the women rep can do that, and the county governments, the governors keep quiet. So it means that we are not prepared as a county or a country for this kind of disaster. So this bill may cure what is needed, Madam Speaker, and I'm very sure I will support this with all my strength. We want to see something put into place and which can be managed very well. not like that scenario of where we were hearing of money being put aside for El Nino. You hear blame games here and there. Measures should be put in place whereby this fund, once it's been set aside, can be handled by a certain committee which can really assist, Madam Speaker. And if this is done, it will really assist us. Schools that get burnt all the time, floods that come all the time, the wind that blow away houses, because I'm very much affected, because when this happen, they always send to the women rep to get in charge, to take care of such incidents, and we don't have funds for that. So, Madam Speaker, I really support this bill, and I support it. Thank you.
The Honorable Naomi Wako, member for Marsabit.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this very important bill. Madam Speaker, anything to manage disaster that comes to us from time to time is something that we should all give support, and establishing a Council of Disaster Risk Management is the most important thing that we can do today, because from time to time, you see that we land into problems, especially like now when it is raining. It is in some areas, it is already, people are already displaced because of the floods, and especially in the areas that some of us come from, even the wind comes and blows off the schools, the roofs, and then even the houses. And most of the time we land into problems that we are not even prepared for. So if at the county level and at the national level, we have national disaster risk management bill, then that can guide and can help. Many are the times that we even lose people because of the disasters in different ways. The fire, you know, sometimes some people can experience fire and they lose their homes, they lose their properties, and they lose even their lives. So the best thing that can help us is to have this bill in place so that we can be able to manage that. I support the bill because of composition of the board members, the qualified people who are to be there, so that in any board, then we have qualified people, we have people who are well experienced, so that they can hold the offices and have the right thing in place. The bill has taken care of different things, vacation of offices. It has also taken care of functions of the board. It has taken care of the powers of the board, and also identified or talks of the committees of the board and delegation of the board. All that ensures good care of the entire bill, and also what it does at the ground level. So, Madam Speaker, I am just supporting the bill and pray that many people will support, and that this bill will be soon in place for implementation, because it will support Kenyans and help Kenyans who will run maybe into any disaster and who needs some support. Thank you.
Before we continue, I'm very proud to welcome the students from Little Lambs Primary School from my Naipoi constituency, Wasingishu County. You can stamp your feet for them. That's my constituency and the school of former school of my nephew, Brian Boss. You're welcome. On behalf of myself and the rest of Parliament, I welcome you to these proceedings. Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bondo, Honorable Gideon Ochanda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I rise to support the bill, I think there are three things that we need to look at very keenly. When we look at disaster, we look at the issue of emergencies, and we look at the issue of crisis. Now, I think these three things, we really have to either define them or to place them exactly where they belong and to be prepared for them. Because many times, what we, sometimes even the kind of debate that we are having around here now, Madam Speaker is indicating a disaster as a crisis. But then there are many times that we also must look at disaster as an emergency. And when you look at disaster as an emergency, the level of preparedness in this country is almost zero. Emergency or disaster does not go with bureaucracy. And what we have, and even some of the proposals that we are talking about, are still creating bureaucratic arrangements. You're still talking about a council, you are still talking about arrangements in terms of how to get to address issues of emergency or issues of disaster, Madam Speaker. So in my view, we have to really rethink as a nation in terms of how we want to look at disaster. There are situations like when you look at the kind of bureaucracy or levels of approvals that you need to respond to a disaster. I think sometimes they are very unnecessary. I remember a situation arose here one time where there were people who were stuck in the lake because of hyacinth. And getting a response, because we wanted a chopper just to airlift some 2 or 3 people. Imagine the guys are stuck in waters and we are told you must write to some disaster committee in Eldoret, or you must write to somebody in charge of the police system for purposes of emergency. For how long do you look at this thing, look at in terms of raising a letter to get to an office, to have a council sit down to approve that this disaster is actually a disaster that requires a response? So, Madam Speaker, we really have to think of this generally. And when we think of it, we must look at the proper definition of these things. Because sometimes we are trying to place arrangements for emergencies, yet we don't place arrangements for crises that even we are forewarned. Like when we are talking about disaster in terms of flooding now, these ones we are forewarned. They can't be a disaster anymore. When you are talking about drought, we are many times forewarned. There are signals that are sent. So when we are looking at that, we don't need to look at it as a disaster. We need to look at it in terms of how well are we prepared for purposes of signals. Because that is not really, that's not a disaster in my view. That's a crisis in waiting, and we are forewarned. We are told that no, this is likely to happen. We are now told that rains are going to be with us here until June, for example. The level of preparedness, why do we want the normal bureaucracy to address a crisis? Because these are some of the things that, as we are forewarned, we really now need to put arrangements that can take care of issues of crisis, but not issues of disaster. So, but when you look at a disaster in the direction of an emergency, some of these bureaucracies are unnecessary. We need spot-on reporting system that can respond to when there are emergencies. And I think that's where some of the members, in my view, are either taking disasters to be crises, which you need to prepare, or some are taking disaster as emergencies. But if you look at them as emergencies, we are less prepared as a nation. Emergencies don't need bureaucracy. Emergencies need spot-on responses, and this is a structure that must be in place outside the arrangements for crisis. Crises that we are forewarned, crises that indicators are clearly there that they are going to take place. So those ones require an arrangement that we don't try to put together in terms of disaster management, Madam Speaker. And then again, issues of disaster sometimes require immediate low-level responses. We are constantly talking about national, that we don't need to have a national council. How do you respond to a disaster in a village through a national council? How do you respond to small little disasters that happen in a school or happen in a setup in the communities, and you want to look at a national office, a national agency, or a national bureaucracy to respond to them, Madam Speaker? So in my view, immediately we separate the issues of crisis from disaster and from emergencies is when we'll be establishing proper infrastructure for responding to them, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
The Honorable Daniel Kirito, member for Igembe Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this opportunity to add my voice to this very important bill. Madam Speaker, the National Disaster Management Authority will be very crucial and very important agency in this country. Of course, there's a lot of damages, and agency is mostly on prevention. This country has become a country of age, and it will be very embarrassing whereby we are made our pants down by disasters without being prepared. Madam Speaker, for example, the flooding. The country should be prepared and have policies on place and be excess so that you can be in a position even to collect the funds and use that rain in future for other for useful purposes. Madam Speaker, the country cannot afford to be losing year in, year out through these floods. Madam Speaker, we have cases of burning of schools, burning of properties, whereby in most cases you find electricity which have been faultily placed. We should be in a position to be prepared properly to be able to avoid such unnecessary damages and losses. So if we are able to plan effectively and before these disasters come, we can save a lot of funds which are which end up being destroyed through these disasters. Madam Speaker, we have some other disasters. Even this rustling of cattle should be considered as a disaster in this country, because you find a community, a family that has used all their resources to put up a farm and put up animals. The rustlers come and steal them. That one also should be considered as a disaster, and the organization should also take care of that to know how to compensate those who will be losing their animals. So in short, Madam Speaker, I'm supporting this bill, and I think we should be prepared earlier enough so that we can be able to counter these disasters beforehand. And it will be very embarrassing for a country like Kenya, which has gone miles in technology advancement, not to be in a position to detect disasters in time before they strike. And most of these disasters are what? For example, the flooding and the burning of some institutions are things that should be early enough detected. The authority from the county level will be very vital, because in some counties you find they don't have even fire extinguishers, even machines to put out fire are not in place, so that you can fight those disasters in time before more destructions are done. We also need the post-disaster rehabilitations. There are communities that have earned all their properties lost in these disasters. We need counseling centers where those who have been affected can be taken through counseling so that they can continue with their lives after the disasters. Because some end up losing everything, they lose their lives. Others end up even hanging themselves after realizing that they have lost everything. So after the post-disaster rehabilitation should be handled properly, whereby you can have counseling centers for the affected members of the community. We also that whatever is given to run the disaster management, there will be openness and accountability, and that will go very far in making sure that the real targets and areas that have been affected have thoroughly been taken care of, and the affected are served. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support.
The Honourable Member for Lungalunda, Honourable Magale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this chance to contribute on this very crucial bill. And I want to say on the onset that I support the bill, because it is really touching on very crucial matter, which of course has been mishandled by the fact that always we were saying that disaster is devolved. Now, when anything happens in the counties and all over the country, then it becomes a blame game. But then more so, what makes me to be very curious about this bill is that there's a special team, which maybe it will be at the national level, but I will wish to suggest that as much as we would wish to have the team, whether an authority or whatever name it will be given, but let that team be cascaded down to the counties and even to the wards, so that the response can be so quick to ensure that the affected people around the county or in the wherever they'll be getting the response very quickly and be salvaged. But again, I want to say that even the classification of disasters, like the wild animals, let me say in my area where I come from, sometimes the farmers are being affected in one way or the other. The jumbos or elephants come into their farms, destroy the farm products or the produce, and then in one night, the whole sub-county or the whole village doesn't have or it's affected by the wild animals. Then this should also be classified as also disaster, but more to emphasize on the issue of the commonly known disasters like floods, many other disasters. I wish to say that when it happens, then the coordination should be actually from the grassroots, as I've earlier said, that the committee which should be formed should emanate from the village level coming up. So the coordination should be in that the member of parliament, the women rep, the MCAs, and any other important leader who is actually affected or in charge of the affected area should be put into consideration, because we don't want a situation where a disaster has taken place, then now it becomes phone calls, and whoever is being called, he doesn't know where to start and how to do it. There should be a very important communication strategy, whereas everybody will be brought on board and be responsible. Because as we speak today, it is either the county commissioner or the governor who is supposed to take responsibility. But I wish to state here that the member of parliament in this case are always being blamed that the roads, the bridges, and all that, all these disasters which take place, the member of parliament and the women rep, so to say, are the ones who are affected first. So as we form the authority or whatever organ which will be formed to address this issue, then I would propose that either a representative of the MP and the member of the women rep be in those committees. And I will submit and say that I support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member John Makali, member for Kandui.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also weigh in on this particular bill. At the outset, Madam Speaker, I will say I actually support the bill wholeheartedly. Schedule 4 of our Constitution actually grants the power to manage and control disasters to our county governments. Equally, Schedule 5 gives national government also powers to control issues related to disasters. So this bill, Madam Speaker, comes in at a very handy stage to provide a legal framework for the management of disasters, risks, and emergencies. Madam Speaker, in the past we have had floods, we have had droughts, we have had animals dying, we have had many risks in our respective constituencies and counties. But ultimately, we have not had a legal framework that provides for the coordination and management of risks and disasters as and when they occur. So, Madam Speaker, this bill, whose object is basically to provide a legal framework for the coordination of disaster and risk management activities both at the national level and at the county level, is appropriate and is welcome at this particular stage. Of critical concern and importance in this particular bill is the creation of an authority that will be able to coordinate all these activities relating to droughts, disasters that happen and occur in our constituencies, counties, and the country at large. This authority that is created will be able to harness information, coordinate all the activities, so that we do not approach the issue of disasters and risk in an uncoordinated manner like we have been doing in the past, because there has been no legal framework. So this particular bill comes in to fill a lacuna that has been existing in our laws, the absence of a legal framework. We keep on saying, Madam Speaker, information is power. If we look at Chapter 3 of this particular bill, it sets up an electronic management system that has to give information, provide information to apprehend disasters that are supposed to come, to look at past events and be able to apprehend them so that we can be able to control them. So the bill is literally well-intentioned, Madam Speaker. In the recent past, we have had disasters that have come, and we have not really managed them very well. We have had funds allocated to them, but those funds have not been properly managed. They have become cash cows for some individuals who have taken disasters as an avenue to misappropriate funds. This bill has ample provisions that criminalize misappropriation of funds that have actually been set apart for management of disasters in our respective constituencies, wards, and counties. And of critical importance, Madam Speaker, Article 6 of our Constitution critically says that the county governments and the national governments shall consult and cooperate in the delivery of services to the citizenry. This particular bill sets provisions for coordination between the national government and the county government in the management of disasters. During the Committee of the Whole House, Madam Speaker will be making some proposals to amend several provisions regarding the composition of these county committees, and the national committees will be able to deal with issues relating to disaster and risk, to include other provisions that will make this act more fulfilling its objects. Madam Speaker, I entirely support this bill and urge that we pass it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Edith Nyanze, member for...
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to hear my views on this bill. It seeks to establish a risk management authority, and I actually support it because it also seeks to establish a risk management fund, which will provide funds for risks and disaster, so that we as a country, we are prepared and also have a mitigation response in risk management matters. So it's actually a bill which has come at the right time to actually address some of the issues which have affected us as a country and which has caused a lot of death in our country. And with such, it also seeks to establish an authority, and with such an authority, we would have